Hey guys, Beast here, and we're opening up the first shoebox here. It's going to be communications, comms. Very important to know, obviously, in an emergency situation, not only what's going on, but if you have to leave or communicate with people across a distance, that's a huge advantage. Not only a peace of mind, but for security reasons, lots of different reasons to know what's happening around you and to communicate with others around you. Communication is key, has been for many, many millennia, and it always will be. Now, what I'm going to cover was a little bit overlap from my EDC. It's going to be overlap from bug out videos. You're going to see sort of the Baofeng radios as being kind of the most prevalent thing that I use around here. However, because I also work on a ship, you're going to see some VHS. Let's spin it around and take a look. All right, guys, well, diving into communications, the two main sources that I have and that I use on a constant basis are the Baofeng. They are a ham radio, two-way handheld, and they are quite cheap on Amazon, anywhere from $30-some to $40-some. They are unlocked a little bit, but even if you do not have a ham operator's license, you can still scan and listen. Be aware that if you do transmit over other codes without ham operator's license or use a repeater, you can be fined. So I choose that because it's cheap as chips. I can throw a bunch around. The batteries are fairly cheap. They last well. We'll cover the little tote here in a second. As you guys saw in some of my EDC, this is primarily what I carry. You can run essentially the GMRS channels. You know, like one of these little talkabouts. You know, they're okay. They're not great. Do I have a GMRS radio that's going into the bus? Yes, I do, but I can also program those channels into here, lower the wattage to an approved FCC rating, and then use that as a daily, radio communications between me and potentially home base or the adventure bus. So I don't really use those on a regular basis. I prefer the Baofeng. They're just cheap. Again, I can hand them to one of my kids. I'm not worried about them breaking a several $100 Yaesu. But it's a little bit more than, this just feels like a child's toy. After you start using this, I can use this as a backup if I need to on fire. Now, if you go look at a couple preppers videos through the internet, Gorilla Comms is one. He takes our Bendex Kings that you can buy from the government at some of these auctions, and you can reprogram those to use some repeaters in an emergency. Again, a great tool. Now, the other one that I primarily use, if you guys follow the channel, you know that I work on a ship. And so because you use ship, you are on a VHS wavelength. I choose the ICOMs. This is the 73 model. There is a 73 Plus that will record your sort of last transmission or last received one. So if it's a little garbled, you didn't quite see it, instead of hopping on the radio and saying, "Can you repeat? Did not copy," you can actually just hit this replay function. I've never had those. I got this from a buddy that upgraded to those, so I got a really good deal on these. Now, working on the ships, primarily the number one company you're going to see is Standard Horizon. This is the HX 400. Bomb-proof, but very chunky. Big guy. Battery lasts okay. It probably has one of the best receivers on there. There's been times I've been standing next to somebody else and they will get the transmission when my ICOMs don't. The reason I like the ICOMs is because they are just bulletproof. They have an amazing battery. Excuse me. I get multiple days out of the ICOM 73 off the one battery. So for emergencies, I don't have to carry a spare battery. As long as I know I've got some charge, I'm going to get through the day and potentially the next day if I'm doing an overnighter in Antarctica. On the ship, I just, hands down, it's amazing. It is metal construction. It's a little bit smaller, so it fits in the pocket. I run essentially a carabiner, but on a shock cord. So I attach this to my pants, so then I can actually, not only if it falls off, it's not straight static, but I can reach up to closer to my mouth, take a call, and it's still attached securely to my pant loop or my jacket, float coat, anything like that. I prefer these. They also fit easier in a waterproof sleeve, which I'll show you in a second. They're just a lot easier to use, and I prefer them, even if they don't quite always get the transmissions that the other ones do. So again, in emergency situations, VHS are maybe channels that aren't going to be utilized and or heard, basically being scanned for. So again, in an emergency, maybe if you just need to go around the block there, definitely line of sight like GMRS. You're not going to bounce this off a repeater. However, in an emergency, I think this is kind of a good standby if you want to just keep comms with somebody in an emergency. Now, in the Tote, what do we have? Again, the old Horizon, a few extra valve fangs. This is the extension model for the battery, so you get a little bit battery life on it. Install charger, this AC charger, and this one you fill with regular sort of alkaline batteries, and then you can actually attach that. So that's kind of a dead emergency use. I've got a spare ICOM battery. These are all my local repeaters and frequencies that I feel are necessary. I should probably keep that in a Ziploc, but I don't. I also have the copies of those that are waterproofed in a lot of the bug out bags. Lots of spare radios, over-the-shoulder comms, a little bit easier to run. If you have a chest rig, you can leave the radio, put somewhere else, and then you can just run this off your shoulder rig. Again, for communications, good old standard. This is a Countycom AM/FM long range or side wave receiver. Does a good job. Keep the communications out there. It's kind of in here as my emergency backup. I've done a video on. This is an extension for Wi-Fi. I leave it in my comms bag. Extension antenna for the Countycom, and that's about it. I can charge these batteries off of DC power, things like that. That is one downfall of the ICOM, the 73, the Marine one, is you do need AC power or DC power, and you do need this bulky charging case. There are models that you can get that not only float when they're in the water, which doesn't always happen. Ask me how we know. I've had a lot of staff drop these and they sink like a rock. The floatable ones, but some of them do have a USB charging ability. Now, the only reason I don't like that is because that port is open to salt water and corrosion if you're out in marine environments, and they don't always work that well. We had more warranty issues and repair issues on the USB ones than anything else. All right, guys, first shoebox has been open. Beer's almost done. We're going to wrap this up for tonight. Stay tuned. Let me know what you want to see. We're going to continue this little impromptu series. Cheers.
Thanks for all the love and support. You guys are amazing. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow the adventure on social media, and we'll see you on the road.